Hi guys, my name is Maurice. I'm a fourth year medical student studying here in Tbilisi, Georgia, and today I'll be answering a lot of the common questions that we get asked. So let's get to it. One of the common questions is, how did I end up here? So I know there's a lot of misconceptions saying that people that end up studying abroad either fail their A-levels, aren't smart enough, I've heard it all. But so how did I exactly end up here in Tbilisi, Georgia? So what happened was I actually did get an offer to study medicine at a London university. However, I was part, unfortunately, of the COVID batch. So that meant that my grades were determined by my teachers and they predicted me one grade less than I needed for my offer, so I ended up losing my offer on results day. So I decided to instead take a gap year, and I got the A that I needed. But this time, if you applied to medicine that year after COVID, you know that it was really hard to get in, and even though I did get a good UCAT score, it just wasn't enough to land myself an interview again. So I was sort of stuck with either the postgraduate route or somehow do medicine abroad. I obviously was devastated on results day, and I didn't ever think that I was going to move abroad. So that leads to one of the common questions: why did you move abroad? And I think for me it was because I really wanted to travel. I really wanted to explore the world. I was accepted at top universities for biomed. A lot of people were questioning why I decided to move abroad, because why would someone who lives in the UK want to move to another country where it wasn't as comfortable to study? And that leads to my answer, which is I just wanted stories and adventures to tell. At this time, I was working as a healthcare assistant, and I was hearing everyone's stories from their travels to other countries and them living in Italy for the year and doing such amazing things, and I wanted my own stories to tell. Long story short, working in a healthcare setting where people were basically dying in front of me, and it made me realize that actually being a doctor and going to a good university in the UK wasn't all that life had to offer, and that's why I decided to move abroad. To another common question: why Tbilisi, Georgia, when there's Bulgaria, there's Poland, there's everywhere else? But I'll be honest, it was cheap. It was cheap. It was a lot cheaper than everywhere else. Bulgaria, I believe, is up to almost 10,000 a year, and Poland is almost that as well. And Tbilisi was just the most reasonable for me. Honestly, my experience so far has had its ups and downs, but for the most part it has been quite a good experience, because I feel like studying abroad really has just broadened my horizons, and it really helps that a lot of people in my uni are actually from the UK as well, so it's like my little home away from home. And one thing that I was really shocked with actually is the teaching. So in first year it wasn't the best. A lot of my teachers were a lot older and I don't quite understand the English a tiny bit, but then as the year progressed they started bringing in a lot of younger teachers that had just passed the USMLE or are sitting it and have just passed the PLAB and are just waiting for their visas to be ready for them to move. And honestly, the fact that their knowledge is top notch, because they still have that USMLE knowledge and they're able to relate to us students who are about to sit those exams in a few years' time, it really helps. They're more like your friends, really. Like, they're very helpful and they're really understanding, and I can just send them on what to call and be like, teacher, I don't get this, and then they'll give me a voice note explaining it. So as for lifestyle, I feel like I can relate to a lot of people in this, that it's so much easier to romanticize your life and go out. Like, for example, instead of staying in, I want to go out even after such a long day because it's so cheap. Taxis are so cheap, going out is so cheap, eating out is so cheap, that you just want to go out and explore, and there's just so many viewpoints and so many places that you can go as well. So what are the entry requirements to get accepted into a medical school in Eastern Europe? It depends on the country. For example, in Bulgaria, there's usually an entrance exam that consists of biology and chemistry content, and it's usually the highest scoring applicants which get places. Whereas in Tbilisi, Georgia, they usually look at your A-level grades, and there's usually, I believe, an interview. So I got an interview as well as I had to write a personal statement, and I had to write an essay on why I want to study medicine, something like that. So even though the grade requirements are a bit lower, we do recommend that students get above B's and C's, and you can also apply if you take BTECs, but if you don't get that, there are other options for you. If you do get lower than expected or you take a BTEC, don't worry, because if you come in contact with us, we'll explain you through the whole process. So if you've done a BTEC or you don't quite get the grades that we're looking for, don't worry, come in contact with us and we'll talk through all the other options and we'll walk you through the whole process. The question is, do you need the UCAT? And the answer is a simple no, you do not need the UCAT, and that is another reason why a lot of applicants actually do choose to study abroad, and that is because you don't need to sit the UCAT or the BMAT or any entrance exam like that, because we know how horrifying it is and how traumatized. This is because universities look more towards your interviews as well as your grades. So how much are the tuition fees? So in Bulgaria, it's around £8,000 per year, and in Georgia, it's around 4,000 to 4,500 to even 5,000 a year. And in other countries such as Latvia, Lithuania, can even go up to around £10,000 per year. Another common question is, can you come back to the UK to work as a dentist or a doctor? And the answer to that is yes, because all of the universities that MedDent work with are either GMC or GGC approved, and therefore once you finish your degree, you're able to sit the relevant exams, and once you pass, you're able to work as a dentist or doctor in the UK. Are there a lot of UK students studying abroad? And the answer to that is yes, there's actually thousands of students studying abroad in countries like Bulgaria, Georgia, Poland, and the reason for this is because there's just limited spaces in the UK, so studying abroad has basically become the next best option. So you don't have to worry whether you go to Romania, Poland, Bulgaria, Georgia, because there's always going to be a strong UK community everywhere that you go. So what language are the courses taught in? So all of the universities that we offer are English taught. So what this means is that you don't need to learn another language in order to study medicine or dentistry. However, the universities may offer an elective course for you to study that local language, and this will not only help you settle in well, talk to the locals, know your directions, know how to talk to taxi drivers, but also it'll help you build that rapport with your future patients and be able to talk to them as well. The thing is, your degree will be taught in English. You don't have to worry about that. The question is, how long is the course? So medicine is usually a 6-year course, whereas dentistry is either a 5 or 6-year course, depending on the university and depending on the country that you go to as well. So that's it for me today, but if you do have any other questions, leave them in the comments down below and we'll try to answer them. If not in the comment section, we'll try and make another video answering your questions. If anyone is thinking about applying to study abroad, don't hesitate to message MedDent Europe and we'll figure out the best option for you. Bye!